It's Storytime with Sterling. In studio here at the Newberry News. Sterling, how are you today?
I'm good.
All right, just good. Man, we've reached the end of the year.
I know, I'm pretty good. Very good.
Well, good. We certainly hope that next year, 2021, is a much better year for all of us.
Hope so, too.
So, what is this week on Storytime with Sterling that you'd like to share with everyone?
I thought we would look at how it was like to shop in Newberry in the downtown section in the 1920s and 30s.
I bet it's quite different than it is today.
Oh, it was a lot different, yeah.
Well, tell us all about it.
Well, you know, there was 3 drugstores on the west side of the 200 block of Newberry Avenue. Starting with, there was Bill Johnson's drugstore, or also known as People's. There was Gus Sherman's drugstore, and the Rexall store, which was originally Dr. Bon and Perry's, and later Berglund's, and then, of course, in the 50s it became McNabb's. There were 3 drugstores on the same block, and all of them had soda fountains.
Really?
And you could buy, get your prescriptions there, and different variety of different things. And there were 5 and dime stores. There was probably the biggest and best known store that people would remember hearing was Andrew Westeen and Company, and that was where Rawhalley's IGA building, which was built about in the early 1980s. But on that site for many, many years was the Andrew Westeen and Company store, which was clothing and food, and also many kids would remember the Toyland, which was on the second floor during Christmas time, all the newest toys. And
oh, really?
Yeah, and Westeen's had the meat department. They had clothing and groceries. And during Christmas time, to their loyal customers, they would give out a Red Wing crockery that said it pays to mix with Andrew Westeen and Company, which I do have several pieces, always looking for more.
Right.
And they had the baskets that were on a pulley system that would go to the office, which was up towards the back, and then they would put the cashiers would put the bills and receipts in the basket, and then they would take it up and then send it up to the office so the bookkeeper could go through all that. And they also sold automobiles too. There was Westeen's garage too. So there was kind of a conglomerate of things down at Westeen's. Foster's Hardware was downtown originally. And then later in the 60s, they moved it up to next to where we are here at the Newberry News. But, there was a wide variety of things, clothing stores, shoe stores, Richardson's shoe stores. There was a wide variety of stuff downtown.
So, okay, let's talk about the building next door to us, the old bank. Of course, there was a bank there.
Right.
But prior to that, there was...
Well, of course, the Newberry State Bank, Bolio's Furniture Store, it actually started out as Jenkins' Furniture Store and undertaking business. And then above that was the Opera House.
Can you believe that? An opera house here in Newberry. That's fascinating.
Many famous operas were booked through the Sioux Opera House, and different famous operas, well-known operas, would come from New York and Chicago, and of course the early Newberry commencement exercises, graduation, were held up there too.
Amazing. So, okay, let's jump across the street from the Newberry News. What was located there back in the 20s and 30s?
Well, the building that's now the hair salon, Tangled Creations, that was actually Munt's Garage and gas station. And then, of course, next to that was Squire's for many years. Of course, it didn't exist in the 20s and 30s. The Newberry Motor Company was started about 1929, which is currently Renzi Ford. And it was Rawhalley, started in 1950, was Rawhalley Motors. And the Falls Hotel next to that, which was built in 1915. So in the 20s and 30s, it would have been the Newberry Hotel. Also, the Western Union Telegraph office was in the Falls Hotel building, or Newberry Hotel building as well.
So let's jump across the street. Let's keep going north.
All right. Try not to get too confusing here. But,
Right.
Newmark Store, the building that's now Depew Agency, A. Lewis Newmark had a dry goods store in there for many years.
Okay.
And then next to that, A&P was there. And then later, Sorrell's Firestone.
Okay.
And then Burns Department Store was next to that. And then M. Sorrell and Son Garage was in the building. It's no longer there, but where the Community Action Building is. That was the M. Sorrell and Son Garage for many years, later Knopf Motors.
Okay.
And on the corner of Helen and Newberry Avenue, on the East Helen, in the late 30s and 40s, was the Newberry Dining Car.
Dining car. Okay.
There was an old railroad coach that was brought in. Joe Beach used it as a promotion of his Toonerville Trolley and Riverboat Tour. Many people still remember going to the dining car. Later, Arvid Talcott had it. And we have been working with somebody. We cannot figure out what happened to the dining car. There was also another dining car in McMillan, or in Helmer. And the one that was in Helmer was later moved to McMillan, but it's not the same car that was in Newberry.
Okay.
And I've been corresponding with a railroad historian who has done extensive research on that railroad car, the one that was here. And we couldn't figure out what happened to it after it left Newberry, if they just dismantled it or what. But there was a dining car here, too.
Maybe some of our listeners may have some information on that. Who knows?
It's not the one that's over by Dollar Settlement over by Brimley. It's not that one. It was not the one that was moved to Helmer. It's just kind of a mystery right now. So
Just
hopefully
disappeared.
We'll figure it out.
All right. So what used to be there on the corner where Duke's Sport Shop is now located?
Tom's Department Store.
Okay. And there was a motel right there.
Yeah, upstairs was the Harris House.
Okay.
Upstairs, yeah. And then the little building where the Duke Sports Shop studio, that little room there, that's where you went in to check into the Harris House.
Right.
And before it was Tom's Department Store, Sundstrom's had a clothing store in there.
Okay.
And then originally, early on, was M.R. Manhard Hardware, which was the uncle to J.C. Foster.
Okay. You know, it's really fascinating to hear about the department stores and the fact that there were 3 pharmacies here in town. I mean, Newberry was a really thriving community back in the 20s and 30s.
Oh, yeah. And the post office was on Main Street on the 200 block during the 20s and 30s. So, yeah, everything was right downtown, and, you know, you could get pretty much everything you wanted. Hardware, shoes, clothing, your prescriptions. You get it all right down on pretty much on the 200 block of Newberry Avenue.
Wow. Maybe someday some of those type of businesses will return. I know that's a hope of many, but it would be nice to see some of those businesses, you know, return to Newberry. I think we'd all would enjoy that.
Yeah, and hopefully we didn't leave out anybody. There was, you know, so many stores and over the years, and sometimes it's hard to pinpoint. Some of them would move around or move into a different building, and so didn't want to exclude anybody. But that's just kind of a look at some of the stores that were downtown. And
well, that's great. Well, thanks again, Sterling, for sharing some of your insight and history of Newberry. For those who may have missed some of our other podcasts, they are on our website, mynewberrynews.com. They're also on YouTube and, of course, on Facebook. So for those who have missed any, we encourage you to go check them out. So anything else, Sterling?
No, I think that's it for this edition.
This edition, well, you know, the next time we meet, it'll be 2021.
I know it, yeah.
So I want to thank everyone for listening today and hope that everyone has a great new year. Thanks for listening.